Reborn has many tier lists, whether it be districts, trials, gears, challenges, you name it. Yet one night while doing parkour, I thought, man, ziplines are kinda cool. I wonder if there's a zipline tier list. There's 3 categories we will look at to determine the rankings for each tier. The core mechanic, how it performs normally, such as using a hook or just general use of grappler. Tech perspective, which is the efficiency with the tech. And accessibility, to get to or branch to other areas. We will go in order from F to S and work our way through all of Downtown. If you end up enjoying the video, then maybe we can have a separate look at Derwicks or Fragments. But for now, let's start with this. It has no use in tech and it is no use mechanically, and it has little to no accessibility. If they remove the grate in the pipe to the left, it would make it so much more useful. This one is also stupid, since it's already next to another grapple point. It's only useful for going in one direction, since you can't go in the other. Tech is less than mid, accessibility is mid, this point is just below mid. That's all for F tier, so at least we can only go up from here. So now it's time for D tier. Now this one is special. Yes, it sucks, but you can just dash jump to that grey or wall run across this building. But what puts it here and not in F tier is that it can be useful. 2 main examples include reaching this zipline over here, as well as using it for tech. However, since this is only good from a high height, it shall remain in D tier. This one goes pretty long, and not just in length. When using it to swing across the map, you can go really far and fast, and that makes it good for travel outwards. However, accessing it isn't the best. It also has minimal tech usage. No, it has no tech usage. When using this to swing from the ground, it's useless, all things considered. D. These points are okay. As a mechanic, it's not really useful. Tech isn't too good either, and its accessibility is mid. So say hello to D tier, you'll get used to it. This drone sucks. It can be used to swing on this treasure of a zipline, but that's about it. You can try tech in Derwick, but it's pretty mid. D tier. L tech, LXS, and OK mechanically. The thing I use this the most for is getting to other ziplines, so instead of F, it gets a D. I kid you not, when I was making the script for this, I completely went past this. It was that useless. Its core is unnoticeable, dumb tech, no accessibility because when you do set tech, it launches you to nothing. However, you can get into Derwick with it, so it barely gets a D. It's okay for a shortcut. Tech is minimal, accessibility is alright, and mechanically it's alright. It just doesn't have that C tier appeal to me. Speaking of C tier, I think it's time we look at our next section, C tier. This drone is alright. You can go pretty far by approaching it to an angle. It bridges the gap between this building as well as these bridges, demonstrating mechanic. Accessibility is alright, so C tier. This is weird. We have 1 drone, 2 ziplines. So the drone is alright and branches north, skipping the extra steps of going around. The close zipline connects you to the bridge, and the east one takes you from fragment to spawn. The tech is very minimal, especially with the drone. The east one gets you close to a floor towards the end. However, if you get the right angle, you can launch yourself to the trial ziplines. The core is alright, the whole thing is solid, it's alright, it's C tier. This drone is funny, although unlike the Derwick one, it's more natural, flowing from drone to crane to bridge. Core wise, it's good. Tech isn't really an applicable thing here. Its access is not good inwards, but it's good going outwards. I like it. C tier. This drone has good core, okay tech, and okay accessibility. The only tech you can really do is from this specific angle, so it's C. These 3 are okay. The general consensus here is the core is alright for 2, the tech is good for 1.5, and the accessibility is solid, in and out. It gets a C. This is a long one, but it has good core. The tech isn't really there, but the best thing about it is the accessibility, going to the pit and the far bridge, although it's only on a tall building, so it gets a C. This one is alright. Core is good, tech is okay, and the accessibility is Its main use in tech is by launching at this part and using point, but by itself it's okay, so it gets a C. This was a difficult choice between C and B. The core is good, the tech is good, and so forth. The tech behind it, however, requires height. Its few uses consist of the side of this building, the front of this building, and by the end of the zipline. It's so good that I use it when playing casually, but ultimately I have to put it in B tier. The only reason is because of the height you get from it, and you don't get a lot unfortunately. This one has solid core, but okay tech and okay accessibility, so C tier. Finally, this one has okay core, mid tech and okay accessibility in and poor accessibility out. And with that we finish C tier, so instead of a break, let's keep going. These bridges are really good in the tech department, only being really annoying to do without hitting the ground. This is the biggest complaint I have with this. It should be A, but that stupid part should really be lowered. The accessibility and core mechanic is also pretty good, a solid all-rounder B. This one connects to that drone we mentioned earlier, making the tech better, though independently it could do with some work. Core is good, and although it seems like a C because of accessibility, you can access it by climbing up this small building area, making it a B in my eyes. These two ziplines are precious to me because of how underrated they are. The core mechanics are good, the tech is good since you can access the other side of vertigo because you have enough height to go to spawn, though accessibility inwards is mid. Although outwards is pretty good, keeping it in B tier. Fun fact, there's an invisible platform here. I do not know how I came across this, don't ask me how. Remember that zipline I briefly mentioned? Well, here it is in B tier. The core is good, the tech is hidden and effective. The only thing holding it back is the accessibility when going into the tech. It requires you to fit between a gap and use the side of a building much like many before it. Otherwise, it's pretty cool. This core is good, tech is good, access in is too high and outwards is okay. Good core, decent tech, good accessibility. We're almost at S tier, but for now, here's A tier. These bridges have a good core, good inward accessibility, as well as good tech, but the only thing that holds it back is the outwards access. This area has such a small amount of ziplines, making it difficult to land the tech. For that reason, it's in A. This is a mess of a zipline that I can't help but like. The core is standard, the accessibility is good, but the tech isn't that good. You can go deep into downtown, but that's the extent of it. The angles are really hard to hit or use, which keep it in A tier. These two are the yin and yang of ziplines. They literally oppose each other. Their cores are great, the tech is also good, and so is its accessibility. The only thing preventing this from S is the tech's difficulty. Guys, it's not a skill issue, I swear. The angles of the zipline as well as the height you approach it with make it harder to work with, so we will keep it at an A. This one has good core, good tech, and accessibility. It's more of an annoyance when going west, but each direction apart from that is good. Finally, we've reached S tier. I consider these to be perfect beyond human comprehension, so without any more delay, here it is. This drone. This is the best drone I've ever seen. Smack dab in the middle of this place, providing its services to all who swing by. The core is flawless, the tech is delightful, you can go here and there, pretty much anywhere. When I started the tier list, I already knew this would be the golden standard for S tier, but that's enough plays for now. Let's go back to spawn to see these. The ziplines at spawn have good core, tech, and accessibility. It's able to keep a good flow between all three. The tech for these are as follows. It's also very easy to branch outwards towards each point surrounding it, and is a really good group of ziplines overall. This was in A tier initially, but after a final review, I couldn't let it slide. This had to be an S tier, and it deserves it. Finally, we have these two bridges by the Riser trial. The core mechanic is good, and the tech and access can expand beyond horizons. I mean, look at this, I can get to the other bridge and so many more areas. If this isn't an S tier, it would probably land in A, but it's my tier list and I place it here, in S tier. Is it over? Nope, since we have to include every single zipline and point, including these ones that bridge the average player from entering vertigo, C tier. These are pretty useless, D tier. These are pretty good and definitely help those trying to climb, C tier. These are really good at their jobs, B tier. Also really good, B tier. And not as good but still good, C tier. And finally, we finished the tier list. It only took 8 days. Anyways, if you want to see me suffer more, please subscribe. Actually, don't, that's bad for me. Now I'm gonna retire and make music for the next few months. Anyways, enjoy this montage.